Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so funny. And I always have to say hi and get my fingers in the way because otherwise it won't let me see the comments. But here we are. I have way too many things on the go. Way too many. We have been gleaning and gleaning and getting apples and plums and pears yesterday. And good morning, Jane. Oh my gosh, okay. So yeah, so awesome that that you guys are here and I'm a little bit late. Anyway, we're going to do a thing with apples and I have been thinking of so many different ways of processing all the apples that I have. Um, I don't think I have it here to show you, but I made like apple pie filling. I might as well start working while while I'm talking. But I made an apple pie filling like, as you guys know, I'm really not much of a baker. Like baking is not, I'm pretty good at cookies and muffins, but no good at pies or pie crusts. So, yeah, so I make the pie fillings. So I just kind of chunk the apples into, little apple pie pieces and then add the, generally it's like a cinnamon and I use coconut sugar. I think typically people would use brown sugar and cinnamon and stuff like that. So it's apple pie filling really. And then I can that, which you just heat it all up, cook it, add some tapioca starch if you need to for the thickening. And then you can put it in the jars and then you can process it like in a water bath for 20 minutes. And so I did that with a bunch of them. I have attempted applesauce. Hey, Monique. Hi. Good morning. Nice to see you. Hi, Darlene. Hi. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, so I have not yet attempted applesauce because I'm not really that crazy about applesauce. I've only ever had a really good one by my husband's aunt, and it was really quite amazing. And I think, if I remember right, it had a lot of lemon juice in it, and I think that's maybe why I liked it. So anyways, now today we are doing a different thing with apples. And I did this already, so I'm going to show you the before, during, and after picture. So we're going to use the little processor here, and if you want to, you could peel your apples, and that would be, some people, if you don't like the chewiness of the skin, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to dry them. If you don't like the chewiness of the skin, you can peel them and then put them in chunks. And so the smaller the chunks, the better, really, because this thing is, it can be a little hard on the arms to run. If you have the chunks too big, the blades don't want to go around. And so, of course, be sure that everything's clean, washed, your apples are washed, everything is clean and washed. And so what we're going to do is just put a few in here so that the blade can get going a bit, right? So I'm sure that you can do this in a food processor. Hey, Darlene. We're so funny today. Thank you, Jane. You're a lifesaver. Okay, so we're just going to go around. And they might pop out of the top or out of the hole here. I could probably add a few more, a little bit more, You just don't want to, well, for me, like if I was standing up to run this, I would have a lot more, what do they call it, elbow grease. I'd have a lot more elbow grease to, to really give her. But because I'm sitting down, I don't quite have that, I don't have the weight behind my arm to get it really going. But I am going to add a little bit more here, just so that we can make enough to show you guys this recipe. And I did this years ago, and I don't remember how I ever heard about it or came up with it. But what it is these apples end up tasting like pistachios. So that's pretty awesome because I love pistachios. And, you know, as with anything I make around here, it's kind of, it's a replacement or an imitation. You know, it's like a cheesy tasting cheese, right? Because we're trying to do things the healthy way, without the fat, without the in that case, without the dairy, without a lot of the things that we that are not a fruit and a vegetable. We try and make things in the healthier version. So so when I say it tastes similar to, you need to add a little bit of imagination as well to that, and be a little tolerant that it's not going to be exact. So my non-cheese cheese is kind of like, pretty much tastes like cheese, but it's not going to be exactly the same. So back to the apples. They're not going to taste exactly like a pistachio, but pretty close. And that's awesome because pistachios are very good for you, but they are also a little pricey. Okay, so good consistency happening here. Okay, now we're going to add our other ingredients. So you can see these are like a nice sized chunk, but I want them ground down even more. And I'm sure you can use a some sort of food processor, but I know if I use the Vitamix, it would just turn into like applesauce, but that might be okay too. We should try that. Not today, probably, but we should try that. Lots of times when I think of things, we end up trying it right here and now, right on the spot. Okay, so these are pecans. So I want, all right, so measuring. You guys are always after me for measuring. I'm going to say that's 2 cups of ground up apple. And I think I should add probably a half a cup of pecans to 2 cups of apples, if you're with me. Okay, now traditionally I have used honey in this recipe. But you can use maple syrup as well. I have not done that. So I don't know if that's going to come out with the exact close sort of pistachio taste. So in this particular case, I am going to use the honey because I want it to taste exactly the way I made it before. And like I said, I made this 2 or 3 years ago, and I completely forgot about this recipe until I ran across it on my Facebook page, which is so funny because I was like, oh yeah, that was something really good, and how did I possibly forget? At that time, I kind of made it like cookies, which we're not going to right now. So, you know, I now, depending on how sweet your apples are, is the amount of sweetener. So if you're adding a maple syrup or a honey, you know, pistachios aren't super sweet, so we don't want this to be super sweet. So I'm going to go with, this is a really nice liquidy honey, if I can get it in without losing too much. I'm going to try and get a heaping tablespoon. Okay. And that might be a little too much for 2 cups. Okay, I'm gonna go with a level tablespoon, and I'm gonna stick this in my little cup here. Okay, because I don't want it, you know, pistachios aren't super sweet, so I don't want it too sweet. Okay, so we have the pecans and the apples. And, you know, I'll try it with maple syrup and see what the difference is. You know, it might even add a better flavor because it's, you know, more from a tree, right? So it might even have a nuttier flavor. So as you can see, this is where I get my upper arm exercise, which I obviously need to do much more often because I still have a little bit of flabby arms. Okay, so we're getting into the consistency, right? And you know, it's so funny because when I make things, I'm always thinking, you know, oh, well, this would be good, or that would be good, or we could add this or change that. And things that are floating through my mind are things like, yeah, you know, I wonder if we added coconut oil, if that would give it a nuttier taste, but the coconut might take away from the pistachio taste. So when you're doing things like this, just, you know, just try stuff. Like, don't be afraid of trying things. And, you know, you can't really mess up. Like there's always something else you can do with it. And so, yeah, so that would be, yeah, that'll be a variation that I do. I won't do it today because I want to stick with the traditional recipe. But for sure, let's try that. Like, you know, you could probably, I'm looking at the cocoa, you could probably add cocoa to this and make chocolate pecan, or I mean chocolate pistachios. Wouldn't that be yummy? Everything's better with chocolate. So, all right, let's give this another. Okay, I'm gonna, it's actually mixing pretty well. Yeah, it's actually mixing really well. Like I was gonna push it down, but I don't even think I need to because it's grabbing really well. Okay, another couple stirs. Okay, that's good. So, get the little bits off. And so what we're gonna do here with, of course, like I said, clean hands and clean everything, and I just rinsed all this stuff off. I've been dehydrating like crazy. And so what we did here, this is it finished and dehydrated. So these particular apples, you can tell by the red, that I used a red skinned apple. I did a few trays. So this one here was with a green apple. So now see, that's one of the things I was thinking about with coconut oil is I kind of tried to make these into cookies, but I didn't get them quite stuck together enough. So they're a little bit like a cookie. You know, you can kind of, sort of, you know, shape them together. So, but I just, I was in a hurry like I usually am. And so I just kind of like, and put them on there. And so, yeah, so you just, I mean, if you eat it in the crumbles, you can have it, you know, like this is more of a leather, right? So you can just peel it off and eat it like that. You can actually try and really perfectly make them into little bites, you know, like this one's pretty well formed. So however you want to put them in the dehydrator is just perfectly awesome. What do I do? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is put these on here, and I have this, obviously this tray is pretty well suited for it because it has very fine holes in it. So you can just use it right on the tray. In this case, I'm using the little plastic thingy that comes with the dehydrator. And so we're just gonna fool around with that. And I can't, whoops. I can't quite remember if, I forgot what I can't remember. Oh my God, okay. Yes, we are good, we are good. I don't know, whatever I can't remember, it doesn't matter, does it? We will never know, and nobody will care. So I'm just, you know, fooling with the idea of a spoonful, and go like that, you know. I mean, you could put it with a sheet, but if you had, you know, I mean, if you could almost use like a ice cream scooper, except if it's too thick, right, you're gonna take a longer time to dehydrate, and it may not be dry in the middle. And so you always want to be careful when you're dehydrating. Make sure, you know, I always tend to dehydrate a little on the overdone side because I don't want it to mold. After you go through all that work, I don't want anything damp or with too much moisture. So this is pliable, but it's dry. And the other thing is, quite often what I'll do, because I did this yesterday and then I turned it off and so it's cool now, quite often what I will do, and I don't know if you're supposed to do this or not, I have no idea, but I will put it back in the dehydrator to make sure it's you know, give it another hour, and then take it out when the room is warm and everything's warm, and of course let it cool down because you don't want it to sweat or anything. But I always want to make sure it's super, super dry before I put it in either, that might be too high, either baggies, you know, Ziplocs, or you can put it in canning jars too. Okay, so these are going to be like kind of like little cookies, and like I said, can you see this okay? Okay, I'm not sure how well you can see. I always forget I need to be on this end of the table. But anyway, so you can see that everything's going to jump around. Okay, so I don't want them more than, say, ½ inch thick. You know, or you can smear them out like that, whatever it is that you want to do. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to try and do these, and then I'll put them in, and then I will show you guys tomorrow how well they stayed together. Okay, so kind of like cookies. I don't know if you can see past my apple dish there. And I don't know why it ends up tasting like pistachios. I have made it with walnuts, and it's pretty close, but really I think the pecans bring out the flavor. Yeah, it is. It's an awesome snack, really healthy, good for you, and so tasty as well. So, okay, just looking at the comments now. So anyway, so your pecans too, they've got vitamin E in them, and they have, of course, the protein, right? And they have manganese in them, protein, of course. I wonder if I can get a couple little ones. So what I'm going to do for the rest of these apples is I'll probably just do that, because, you know, this takes time. I always end up like so much wanting to do everything in a hurry. But anyway, yeah, so they have the protein, they have thiamine in them, and they have manganese, and so pecans are really, really good. One of the more healthy nuts, really. So yeah, so this is going to go on the dehydrator tray, and I have 3 different dehydrators, and they all work a little bit different, so it's kind of interesting. I know a lot of people talk about the Excalibur, and it's like the Cadillac of dehydrators, and that's really cool too. I can't quite remember what the trays look like, but I do know this dehydrator is very, very old, and it's nice that it has the finer mesh, you know, for things like this that don't really fall through. And then of course you would still have to use something like this if you're going to do a fruit leather, and you're going to have it like something very liquidy. But anyway, this is nice. Yeah, so I kind of like having the different ones, because if you have you know, the one with the wider mesh, it's good for things that you really want a lot of airflow through. So, okay, so I'm going to leave that there, I think, for now, and we'll move on to the next thing. And yeah, it really, really is good. And so that's simple, super simple, that's it. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to make an old recipe, another old recipe of mine. I think I put this on my YouTube 4 years ago, and believe it or not, it was really shocking. I didn't even notice until recently when I went across it that it had 9,000 views, which is super awesome. Because I haven't had the time to tag all my videos and to even put names or titles on them. So a lot of times people don't see all my, you know, couple hundred food videos, 15-minute fast, healthy food videos. A lot of people don't see them because I don't have titles or names, or I just haven't had the time. I just upload them and away I go on to the next thing. So, so this particular recipe is like so crazy easy. You just can't even imagine. And so it's a super simple vegan chocolate icing, and it takes about, seriously, 2 minutes to make. It depends on how warm your coconut oil is. So you're going to take coconut oil, and I'm going to use a heavy spoon because I need to mash it. And, you know, ideally, this would be better if it was a little bit warmer, but it's not. So it's just jumping right in the thing. I'm going to say 5 tablespoons. I think that's 5 tablespoons. I'm going to add a little more because chocolate icing is good on everything. So, you know, I mean, really, why not? So the coconut oil is just like that. And I'm going to mash it down a little bit right now. And so this thing works great, but it's not very good for mashing if the coconut oil is too hard. Okay, so I'm just going to get it a little softened. It's not too bad. It's pretty warm in here, so it's not bad. Just super simple. It all depends on how much, you know, cocoa you like or how rich you want it. And so yeah, so cocoa powder, if you can get a nice organic cocoa powder. What do you think that was? I like lots. I like lots of cocoa. I was like 2 super heaping tablespoons. And since I think we have like 5 of the coconut, I'm going to add 3. You do these things to taste, you know. You have to taste everything and do everything to taste. Okay. So, and I'm going to do something else with this recipe too. Okay, so the next thing is your maple syrup. It's just the easiest thing for blending, and so you only have coconut oil, which really doesn't have any sweetness. You have pure organic cocoa powder, which has 0 sweetness. It's actually quite bitter. So, so I'm going to go with probably 1/4 cup. Does that feel about right? Okay, and again, taste. You know, like you can do all kinds of things with measuring, but it really is to your own taste. Whoops. Did you see that? It just went all over me. If I got cocoa on my face. Oh God. If I do, you know why. Okay, so try not to throw the cocoa all over yourself. And we're just going to, maybe if I aim it towards you guys, we're just going to mash this up. And so, of course, the thing, as with anything that's made with coconut oil, I'm just spilling it everywhere. Okay, try not to inhale the cocoa while I'm stirring. As anything with coconut oil, if it gets warm, it's going to melt. Okay, so if you are serving this over anything on a super hot day, it's going to get pretty liquidy. So you're just going to, and you could, if you wanted to, you could put it in a magic bullet or whatever, but again, you know, it's really going to stick to the sides. And so if you wanted to, like I can see some of the little lumps here of the coconut oil, which you can spend time mashing that down, or what I could have done was just have it a little bit warmer so that the coconut oil is liquefied. But then you need to go back into a little bit cooler environment. So you can heat it up and then make sure that that it's like not over, I don't know, 75, 80 degrees probably, because otherwise it'll start to liquefy again, right? So, you know, so for me, I don't mind mashing these little lumps out and spending a little bit more time on it. There are some things I don't mind spending time on, but see, you can see that it's not that hard to find the lumps and get them out. And they taste really good too when you run across them. So, okay, simple as that. Look at that. Okay, now the other thing you can do with this, besides eat it right out of the bowl, is, which is so super tempting. Okay, all right. Okay, so what you can do with this that's kind of cool, when I get it, when I can resist licking the spoon, it is so good. I'm going to set it right there for later. Okay, So yeah, so you can put this on anything that you need an icing for. It's beautiful. If you want it a little bit smoother, because it has a little bit of a thicker consistency. If you want a little smoother, you could add a little bit of water to it. You could add a tiny bit of you have to play with it. A tiny bit of almond milk or coconut milk or something like that, just to smooth it out a bit. But what I'm going to do with this, and the reason I don't want to smooth it out, is I'm actually going to put it in these cute little molds, and I'm going to put it in the freezer so we have little chocolate icing bites. Doesn't that sound good? I think that's a really good idea. So I have my cocoa spoon here, and I'm just going to press it in to my form or my mold or whatever. Get it in there. And of course, this is always a messy job, right? And resist the temptation. I'm resisting the temptation to just eat it right out of the bowl. What you could do also, if you wanted to, you could sprinkle little bits of pecans or bits of coconut on there. You could put the coconut in with the cocoa, in with this mixture. You can add pretty much anything to it, and it's just like better than most things. It's not really a super health food, but it kind of is. I mean, cocoa has antioxidants, and it has lots of things that are really good for you with the antioxidants. And oh my gosh, I've forgotten. Oh, there's something about the antioxidants in the cocoa. Is it manganese? It could be manganese in the cocoa too. I can't remember. But anyways, then of course your coconut oil, right? We're supposed to be ideally, in many, I know there's been a lot of controversy, to and fro. Why does to and fro come to me? Been a lot of controversy, pros and cons of coconut oil, but coconut oil is very good for you. It really has so many health benefits. I have seen it heal so many things, all kinds of skin issues, to inflammation, pain, inflammation, skin issues, all kinds of things. So I have seen the health benefits of coconut oil work firsthand. And I know that there's a lot of people now that are, so anti-oil, I guess you could say that. They're just like, oh, we're not supposed to be eating any artificial oils and blah, blah, blah. And, I think honestly, for me, it all depends on the person's health and what you're trying to do. So, if it all depends, if your concern is watching your blood sugar, if your concern is losing weight, if you're, whatever your concern is kind of where I individualize the health programs for each person, because it all depends on each person, right? So yeah, for sure. I know coconut oil pulling for your teeth, for your gums, for everything is so good. But it's like there's always that other study that people are on, like, oh, well, we shouldn't be ingesting oils on their own unnaturally, blah, blah, blah. You should get it from your food. And all of that is true. Like I said, it all depends on where you are with your health and what it is that you're trying to do. Because you can't hand out the same exact for everyone. Everyone is individual. Okay, so what I've tried to do here, which I've done such a terrible, messy job, you guys watching me, I'm just trying to clean off a little bit of the, no, my hands are full of cocoa, a little bit of the mold here, fill it up smoothly, and then, just so that when I pop them out, they kind of lay flat instead of a little too lumpy. Good luck with that, right? So, so I'm going to put these in the freezer, and I will let you know how they come out. You know what? I'm going to squish them again because I've done this before. And sometimes if you don't really make sure they're squished in there, they won't have a nice smooth, you know, when you pop them out on the other side, it won't be nice and smooth. So, and I have done this before because I do make a herbal chocolate that is absolutely to die for. It has, it's absolutely to live for, because it has all of my morning powders in it. It has, it is this herbal supplement. The chocolate is a herbal supplement. It has ashwagandha, astragalus, ginseng, goji berries, hemp heart, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, grape seed extract. Oh my gosh. Yeah, all that stuff. And several more things. And it is, it's an amazing tasting, cayenne and ginger. So it has the, it has a little bit of a bite to it too. Good for circulation, good for your health, good for your immune system. It is an amazing chocolate. Unfortunately, I cannot ship it in the summer because it's made naturally. It doesn't have any wax in it, and so it will melt if I try and mail it. So when the weather cools down, I do ship it everywhere, and it is absolutely to die for, guaranteed. I've had thousands of people fall in love with it and also feel the health benefits from it. Anyway, this is not it. This is today's recipe. So there's that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so cocoa all over my hands. I was going to show you one more thing, but I think we're out of time, and so we're going to save that one more thing for tomorrow. And we're going to dehydrate this. We're going to put that in the freezer. And yes, it is to live for. It's awesome chocolate. Okay, so yeah, so that was really fun. Oh, I wanted to tell you something else, and where did that something else go? I don't know. I guess, oh, I was going to talk about, that's what it was. I was going to talk about the digestive formula that we can make here at home. Anyway, we will look at that for tomorrow, and it's going to be a beautiful day out there. So get out and enjoy it, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Okay, see you tomorrow at 11, and check out my Facebook and my Instagram, my YouTube channel, and have a really good day, and try some of these super healthy, easy things. Like seriously, you can just take coconut oil and cocoa and just go to town with, you know, adding whatever your heart desires. Goji berries, you could add like that, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, hemp hearts. You can just, when you make them into the little frozen bites, they're just super nice because they melt in your mouth. Or you can use it as an actual icing on anything. Okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. It was really fun to hang out, and we'll see you at 11 tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.